Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're hunting more Rosenscore trophies. I asked you guys to comment trophies that you had that I should get, and one of you suggested castling after move 40 and winning the game. So that's what we're doing today. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1, we get the black pieces, and basically the goal here is to play very non-confrontational chess, which is already going to be hard because we got e4 as a line, but maybe we can simplify into something a little more symmetrical with a Scandinavian. Nice. And I'm going to play the most boring line imaginable because I need to drag this thing out to 40 plus moves and then castle. So I already have the inherent disadvantage that I'm kind of playing down a rook, and I'm going to be playing with my king in the center of the board. Now, normally, if I had a challenge like this, like for example in drawback chess, that would immediately lead me to the conclusion that I need to play super duper aggressive and like checkmate them within 20 moves. But obviously we have the stipulation that we also have to be past move 40 before we castle. So those two things are kind of at odd or in tension. But we'll see how we balance it out. Let's throw this pin on the board. Again, I need a sort of long, very maneuver heavy sort of game. We're only on move 6. This is also going to test my ability to play sort of a different style of chess because I don't like playing long and drawn out games, even though I am a London player and we do get that sort of bad rap. I love my centralized knights and my flank pawns diving into the king's position and, you know, dropping the knight so we can open up a file against the king and all of those very fun ideas. The problem is those, whether you lose or win, those ideas very quickly end the game. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to castle this way. Or maybe I should keep my options open. Yeah, let's go queen to c7 and keep my options open. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to play a game of chess without using either rook, just to keep my options open, but we'll give it a fair attempt. I like all of these little ideas. They only kill off one move at a time, but you know, they work towards our 40 moves of progress. You guys can't even see it yet on the screen, but when we get deep enough into any given game, you will start seeing what move we're on, and towards the bottom eventually you'll see move 40. All right, rook to e1, clearly looking for d5. Wow, a 1900 rated player taking advantage of the fact that my king is in the center. Now we all act surprised. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. Just have to hang out here for a little bit and hope that I can weather the storm. They are down on time, which is cool. Oh, here we go. Yep, d5. We'll take this way first. And then what do I do here? Take and then e5. This is super uncomfortable. Knight b5 just tickles my entire position in all the worst ways possible, but don't have much of a choice if I want to leave my king in the center of the board. Sure, we get e5. Maybe we can go bishop d6. Again, that kind of just walks into this fork. Maybe queen to d6. All right, there we go. Knight d5, or rather b5 with no hesitation from the opponent. Queen to b6. d6 is uncomfortable, but it's not losing yet. Maybe if I can get like a6 and trade off the queens, I can do a little bit better here. They also have the bishop pair, and again, if I'm in an endgame, the fact that I'm playing down a rook against the opponent is going to make itself much more apparent. I have decided though that I'm not going to, give up halfway through any of the challenges that I'm doing. I'm just going to full commit. If I lose the game because of it, c'est la vie, it is what it is. We get bishop to e3, knight c5, pinning my own knight. Well, sounds like fun. Let's go bishop to c5 so I can at least take if they do decide to fight for the open file. Yep, that's totally fine. And then they rook to c1. Yep, easily grabs the open file. We'll go back to b6, and I've allowed knight to c7. Okay, I just don't have a choice here, right? King to e7, kind of forced. It's just the best of the three evils. I have to basically abort the challenge because they've forced my king to move. So basically, gloves are off now. They're down to 30 seconds. I can now do whatever I want to try and survive this game, which is going to be a very difficult challenge considering how much pressure we have on our position. Sure, let's go this way. If I can trade queens, that would be huge. Opponent's not going to allow that so easily. And there goes the rook. Okay, the only chance here that I have is flagging. Oh, and maybe not hanging the queen would be nice. How did I miss that? Yeah, queen to b8, beautiful checkmate with the pinned knight. Well played to the opponent. I mean, we left our king in the center and we found out what happens when you do that. Pretty expected result, to be honest, but okay, not a bad first attempt. Let's go to move on to game number 2. All right, game number 2, I get the white pieces so I can guide the position a little bit more. I can force my opponent to play a little bit more symmetrically, immediately fight for these dark squares, allow the opponent to get all of the light squares, and in that way, we're sort of locked in the position. So super symmetrical, super super non-confrontational. You control light squares, I control dark squares. It's a little bit like a jigsaw. We're interested in completely different squares of the board. The trouble starts if they start looking for like e5 ideas and things of that nature. But okay, so far so good. We're already almost at move 10. Knight comes out to c6. We'll stop knight to b4. They want to go to e5. Well, let's not do that. Stop them from moving to e5. Maybe even play f4. Just try to close up the position as best I can. Ooh, knight d7 is interesting because it allows me to trade off a whole bunch of pieces. But again, my king is in the center and they really want e5. And I really don't want them to play e5. So I'm going to play f4 and try to hold the fort down. Knight takes, of course, I'm going to take with the pawn. There's not really any other piece that makes sense there. Knight to f3 reinforces e5. They're really going for e5 here, which makes a lot of sense. Let's play some distraction moves here. We'll take on d5. Actually, d5 is quite a weakness here. I can't take quite yet because the queen defends, but yeah, here I would, without a shadow of a doubt, castle. Either way, to be honest, I think would be super advantageous, just so I don't have to worry about this anymore. But again, just not in the books for me today. So what to do? Let's go rook to f1. We might as well get one rook into the position. Yeah, knight to b6. Again, I can never take. That's just devastating and would also probably end the challenge. Actually, maybe I could take. If I take knight to e5, I take back, but then knight to d7, and that bishop is pinned. Yeah, so I really just can't. Let's go here, tickle their position a little bit more. Take back with the pawn. Again, I have to hold on to e5. It's I was gonna say that's the only way that my king can stay in the center. They found a way to get to me anyways. Yeah, well played. All right, I have to play king d2. If I play knight d2, then they just play knight c4, and that's pretty much all, if not resignable, pretty darn close. Okay, again, gloves are off. The challenge is over, so I can play whatever I need in order to win. All right, this is pretty pesky because I still have this pin on my king, or rather on the knight on the king. It's not super clear what I do about this. Could play rook to c1. I'm not super against sacking the rook to get the knight into play. Oh, actually, that doesn't do anything because the rook would still be pinning the knight. Okay, either way, we get knight back to d6. Hits the queen. Let's go queen back to h5. Still not really seeing where my attacking chances are. Sure, let's go king back to d1. If they take, I don't really care. I just want knight to f7. They do take. I'm going to take a moment to take back. I like this threat on the board. I also like knight to g6 on the board, so I don't want to commit to this too early. Yeah, they do move the queen out of the way, which also stops this because the queen sees g6. Throw a little check on the board. I know what I said about committing too early, but at this point might as well. I can take on d5, which defends d4, and there's this idea, which is always fun. I think queen to e6 is probably the only way to stop it, and I'd probably accept the queen trade at that point. Oh wow, rook to d8, check? I'm not even going to take the rook. Check and I have queen to g8, knight to f7. Oh, that's beautiful. Don't resign. Yes! We actually got that totally insane checkmate. All right, that has nothing to do with the challenge and doesn't count towards our trophies, but pretty darn cool checkmate. Somebody comments smothered mate in the chat, and somebody else says, yep. Shout out those that are observing. That's pretty funny. All right, let's go to move on to. That is crazy. That is crazy. Move on to game number 3. Somebody else says WIWC. That's so funny. All right, game number 3. I get the white pieces again. So again, yeah, I can sort of lean into a symmetrical position and have the opponent follow. Nice. Closed, boring. In fact, I'm even going to push the bishop back to g3. Even better. Perfect. This is exactly what we need. Okay, that's not what we need because they're looking for e5 now. Let's go ahead and pin the knight. Make it at least a little more of a headache for them to go for this push. Yeah, they're going to definitely try and force it. I'll just take and then centralize my knight. My light squares are weak as all heck, but you have to make some concessions if you plan on playing down a king and down a rook and not being able to castle. Can't really ask for the world if that's your game plan. Okay, let's take on e4. We're super simplified, which is pretty sketchy. I think I'll take here as well. And then I don't know, like queen to g4, just start bothering the opponent. Yeah, g6, queen to f4 targets f7, so if they castle long, I can take. Oh, they're gonna let me take, that's the problem. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't, so if their king was in the center, my king would also be in the center. Yeah, that's not ideal. I can also kind of count on castling kingside, but that means I'd have to go for a queenside attack, which is a little bit scary here. Okay, should I take? They would take back. I'd move my queen out of the way. I don't know that they have any real threats. Okay, I'm gonna take. It opens up the position, which is not ideal, but it also gives me an advantage. You know, if the opponent can like maybe play for a draw or something like that, that would be spectacular. Because then we can definitely draw the game out. I mean, we need it. We need another 24 moves on the board. Rook to f8 is the expected move there. Queen d7 keeps the pressure on on e6. Oh, queen to b5 here is actually pretty annoying. Rook to b1, queen d3, threatens queen c2 with this, and then also threatens the rook. I'd have this intermediate check, and then I can drop back. Okay, rook to e8 is what we get instead. Shuffle back over, or do I just retreat? I might just retreat here, just to stop queen to b5, which is really, really bothersome there. I would happily invite it though, so we can trade off queens. But this is fine too. We can dance around for a little bit and buy some moves. Yeah, queen to b6. I see the idea, they just don't have this follow-up. Do I play rook to b1 and eliminate this option, or do I play b3? b3, queen c6. c4, queen back to b6 looking for queen to a5. I think I have to play rook to b1 because if I start exposing the king too much, they can actually get check and completely eliminate my chances of castling. Okay, queen to d6. Queen to f4, please. Please let me trade. That's like exactly what I need. They're probably gonna push though. Oh, they play queen to d5. Okay, I'm not angry about that. That's kind of fine too. Oh, they're looking for this. Queen to a2. Targets the rook, forces me to castle. Okay, let's go a3 and hope they don't think this is worth it. Like in real life, in the real world, in actual chess, it wouldn't be because I just castle and then the queen is awkwardly placed. But the opponent might not agree. Let's go queen to h4. This is kind of a weakness as well, but oh, there we go. Queen to a2. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about this. I have to castle. Which again means the gloves are off. I can play absolutely whatever I please now. So I guess that's good. Sure, rook to f7. I'll just go here. Actually, I could have taken on e4. Kind of a waste of a move there. Yeah, queen goes back. I can play b3. I don't care about this pawn. I just need to open up lines against the enemy king. Yeah, queen goes back. I push again. There's no restrictions on my position now. I can play whatever I want now. I mean, there's nothing to lose now. No challenge that I have to be worried about. Literally just have to worry about my time. As long as I don't flag, I'm looking pretty darn good here. Yeah, I can take on e6. King shuffles over, check again, just to be cumbersome. Let's go f3. I just want to get this off my back. Ooh, queen comes into play. Ooh, kind of bold. Rook to f2, I drop e3. Ooh, this is actually pretty uncomfortable. Oh, I just was not fast enough there. Oh, that's so frustrating. Okay, with that, what was that? Game number 3? Oh man, I'm getting rusty. I need to start playing Bullet again. With that, we do lose game number 3. Let's go to move on to game number 4. All right, we get the black pieces again, but they do play d4 and c4. So maybe I can play a sort of Dutch defense. And again, I just really want this sort of crisscross applesauce sort of position where we're fighting for like totally different squares and we're sort of locked as a result. So they do allow an early bishop to e6, which normally is super advantageous because then I can reroute the bishop into that kingside attack, which is kind of inevitable. Sure, we'll play h6, boot the bishop. If they do take, I just replace one knight with another, and I still have eyes on e4. Sure, we'll take a moment to stop this idea. They're going to insist, but I'm not super worried about that. So knight to e4 to continue. Knight to e5, threatens g6, which is kind of pesky. I might actually just take. Now, let's go bishop to f7, target e5, invite pawn to f4. That way that pawn can never boot my knight. Ooh, queen to d4, they definitely want to boot my knight. I think they specifically thought about it actually. Let's continue this way. We can reroute to e6, then the knight is less optimally placed, but it still blocks the pawn on e5. So it sort of kind of does something. Yeah, knight comes into play. We'll target the queen, target the knight. At least we can guarantee getting rid of this knight. This bishop is going to be stuck behind this pawn structure though. It's kind of an honorary e6 pawn, which is not a great place to be if you're a bishop. Let's keep taking. Oh, the king can't move from the center. This is getting pretty questionable. Oh boy, this is rough. Bishop d5, trade off the bishops. Again, trading off is okay in the sense that I can get some pressure off my position, but it makes it all the more obvious that I'm playing without moving at least one of my rooks. Okay, let's go rook to d8. We need 15 more moves on the board. Queen goes back, rook d5. I just want to entertain my opponent with sort of nothing burger ideas that I don't intend to follow up on. So h4, h3 to follow, or I can take. Yeah, queen takes back. This is the only way to still castle. So I have to keep that alive and well. Oh, I've allowed rook g4, which kind of, well, I guess it doesn't force me into a trade, right? Because they can take and I can take on h2. So maybe they'll defend on h1 and then I can play this. No such luck, h4. I can still take. Should they take back? The problem is, if we trade off everything here, I lose my right to castle. I could try g5, but then I think they just have rook g8. Okay, I'm gonna take. And with, I was gonna say with any luck, we don't need to lose. We don't need to lose our castling rights, but the problem is they have this check, right? And if I move this way, it's mate. If I move that way, rook to d1, I move over again. I mean, maybe I'm surviving. I don't know. Maybe I am surviving. Let's see what happens. I don't think I'm well off in that position, but I might have enough to live to see another day at least. Oh, and I mean, needless to say, castling is long gone out the window. So we're just playing a normal game now. Yeah, queen goes back. They just want to trade. I don't think I want to trade though. Yeah, because by losing the initiative over here, they now have to reckon with the fact that the king is very exposed. So we can just keep applying pressure. And hopefully we don't run out of checks. But after king g1, do I have a check to follow? I don't think I do. I have rook to f4, but I could also just take the pawn. Yeah, I think rook to f4 just makes way more sense. Oh, e7. Wait, does e7 work? Yeah, because if I take... Okay, they played rook to e1 instead, which I think doesn't work because I have this check, and then I can still force them to lose the queen. But e7 I think might have worked there. It might still work. I don't know if I can stop that pawn in time. Yeah, let's go here. I need to play a little bit tricky. Yeah, and then I have check, check. Okay, now I'm winning. Okay, with that, we do manage to win the game, but we didn't actually get checkmate, even though we dragged it out to 61 moves. This might actually be the first one that I'm not sure I can get. I knew coming in, I mean, it's the first thing I said, that the fact that I was going to be playing down a rook, basically, at least as soon as the opponent figures out that I can't move my king, and that I'm down a rook, I'm basically toast in the middle of the board. So I'm playing with that, but I can't just rush to try to beat them as if it were some sort of drawback, because I need the game to drag out to 40 moves. I knew that from the get-go, but I didn't think, I guess my estimation of how many moves my games were was just way off, because I was at move 20 in some of these games and I felt like I was already at move 40, but it takes a lot to get those two things, in tension to last you that long into the game. I don't know. I'm not feeling super optimistic about this one. Let's go ahead and throw in another game and see if anything changes my mind. All right, we get the white pieces this time. So again, I can sort of guide the direction of the game. I'm going to play d4, try to play super solid. They lean right into it. Great, super symmetrical. This is exactly what we need. I also need to do better on time. Don't do this. There's no need. Oh, they're playing exactly that idea. I mean, okay, we'll play h4 and just stop it, I guess. Okay, cool. We're sort of back to normal. I have a bad feeling this opponent is very confrontational, however. Yeah, bishop g4, because this is no longer possible with the pawn past it on the 4th rank. I guess we defend. This isn't the end of the world. I mean, we just kind of have a lot of stuff in tension here. Ooh, f5. Okay, I'm gonna move my queen out of the way so this isn't pinned, but I kind of like that they're fighting for all of these light squares, and personally, I can just keep fighting for all of the dark squares. And I don't think it gives a huge advantage to either one of us. I mean, I'm threatening this now, which they do notice. Wait, can I still play that though? Because I have this? Or I guess they take with tempo and then play e6. Yeah, so I don't think either of us gets a huge advantage from this particular setup. But it does lead to a position that's very locked up. Yeah, they do play e6, and I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm gonna leave that right there. In another world, I'd castle and play e4, but not this one, because I don't want to castle. I need that trophy. Rook g1 and g4 is also super amusing. I can play it because I can still castle queenside, and there's just way more activity on this side of the board, so I'm expecting everything to sort of develop on that side. Oh, I just noticed why they played that. If we trade everything off on g4, I drop h6, and then I can't castle, which is so funny, because in a normal game, the least of my concerns is not being able to castle. Just put the king on e2, or shuffle him over, or whatever, and just keep the attack going. But in this game, or in this video, I guess, it does matter a lot, actually. Okay, I can take back. They just lose a piece if they do take. So they do have to drop back at least. Then maybe I have g5. I guess if they're too worried about their own king, there's no way they can come and bother mine. Okay, I'm definitely taking, and I don't want them to be able to castle. Nice, and g5, kind of a brute force way to stop this, but I guess it works. Knight to e4, I think I want to trade that off. Okay, this is a weakness. So queen g2 targets a weakness, so has to be a good move of some species, and allows me to take the weakness. Okay, cool. I'm totally fine with this. This is null now because I have 2 pieces defending, even though they have 2 pieces attacking. We're on move 21 though, which funny enough is actually not that promising yet. Okay, we'll move back, get the queen out of the pin, and line up a discovered attack of our own. Try to take advantage of the fact that this king can't castle and, you know, buy some time while they sort of scurry away to defend that king. Just have to be a little bit precise about this. Okay, let's boot the rook and then queen to g4, target e6. Nice. 3 attackers on g5, but also 3 defenders. Nice. I like to see that as well. Normally I just play d5, shuffle the rook over. It's going to be what it's going to be. But again, I need to be able to castle, so not an option. c4 is also not an option because of check. Okay, what are my options? I guess they can't shuffle back because then they drop e6 anyways. So maybe b4. It's sort of a pseudo attack. I don't actually intend to open up anything. Oh, they're going to call my bluff. Oh, they're going to call my bluff. Okay, b5, I guess. Ooh, this is super amusing. Queen b2, is that the idea? Just diving in for a counterattack? I mean, fair enough. Makes sense. I kind of have to come and defend as well. I really don't like the idea of them coming down to b2 and forcing my rook out of its little corner, because then I can't castle. So this has somehow made itself a priority, even though the queen by itself will never checkmate my king. The fact that it threatens to move my rook is, I guess, now a priority of some kind, because the entire challenge hinges around that point. Okay, they decide to retreat, which is really good for us. We'll come back up and target e6. I guess they're targeting g5. Did not pay attention to that, to be honest. Ooh, yeah, definitely should have paid attention to it as well. Okay, the problem is if I ever do something like this and get too aggressive, they have check, removes my king from the back rank, which is counter to everything that I've worked for thus far. If I allow them to take, queen comes in as well. Again, counter to everything that I've been working towards. Let's go here, and I have to take with the pawn because if not, I allow rook to h1. If they play check, rook to f2. Yeah, this is not great. We're on move 32, I can still castle, legally at least. Okay, let's go here and just Hail Mary a whole bunch of checks, and hopefully it's not a draw. Sure, we'll move back. Oh, queen to e4. If I block, they might trade and then I can't castle. Ooh, 35. 35 is the move we're on. Hold on. There's good stuff happening. I threatened this even though I don't... Oh, I don't intend to play it though. Oh, I don't intend to play it. Opponent, why couldn't you have seen that simple tactic? Okay, you know what? I'm winning this game. Sorry, I'm winning this game. There's just no way. I know, challenge, and I'm variant guy, and I'm supposed to care about challenge. No, I care about winning. I like winning games. Oh my goodness, okay, and they do timeout, so I did manage to win the game. Honestly, I think that's as close as we were gonna get. I would push a little bit further, but I don't know, I think I need to recalibrate or something, because I don't know. Maybe I should just play a different opening, like double fianchetto or something, but if I give the opponent so much leeway, they're probably just going to take it. I mean, at this rating level, they usually know that space is an advantage of some kind. So I don't know. I'm going to be honest, this might be the first time that I have to retire myself from a Rosenscore challenge. If you guys do have suggestions on how I can approach this, let me know down in the comments below. I'm well aware the solution might just be brute force for like a 3-hour episode until one of, these sorts of games that did manage to get past 42 moves, just works out in my favor, but it sounds like a grueling and rather uninteresting task. Also, if you guys do have other Rosenscore challenges that you do want to try, that you've gotten as well, leave them down in the comments below. I will do my best to take it very personally, a very personal challenge. I will shout you guys out and do my best to get it like I did today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.